radical. So Chris Stewart here in Utah, whoa, has resigned. Whoa. So it's a big deal around here. Let me talk about why it's a big deal. Now, I'm here in Utah. Now, he's not my representative here. That's Blake Moore. Blake Moore literally grew up just right over there. Now, why? This is the school of business right here that the FBI's investigation into influence, as you know, I've been screaming about since, well, I was the professor. I was the student professor here when we were the #1 school business in the country. Now, do I think this relates to it? I think there's a high probability. Now, it's being reported that it's his wife's health issues. Now, I hope she's okay. I hope we don't hear the C word, but it is Utah, and I really hope she's okay. Now, as you know, Chris Stewart has been really vocal going against the Chinese influence, and the investigation all points right here, all of it right here. Now, I was the student professor here. We were the #1 school business in the United States here. Number one. Now, I've always felt that Dr. Cooley's death is suspicious. I've always felt that. So, how do we go from the #1 school business in the country to, and as you know, Chris Stewart has been leading the charge on this. So let me show you this. So, Dr. Cooley, I've always felt his death was suspicious, and Dr. Madsen. Now, I ran the show for Dr. Madsen and Dr. Cooley. That's the last letter of recommendation he ever wrote. #1 finance professor in the country. Bar none. So, you can look up the investigation. In fact, Lee, who, the interview's right there, they take the picture right there. I know him personally. Me and him batted heads so hard. So 2 weeks before we're going to start the MBA program, we're the #1 school business in the country. Now remember, not via some opinion, via the testing. #1. So that interview, he's right here now. You know Chris Stewart has led that charge in Congress, big time, just going off. He's also led the charge going off on the FBI. He's really been outspoken against it. Oh boy, it's 3/11. It's 3/11, Kevin. Well, it's Fukushima. Do I think I don't know this for a fact, but I got a hunch. Now, it's being reported his wife health, and like I said, I hope she's okay. And by the way, his investigation on the Chinese influence, I support 100%. I mean, what's gone on here? Oh, do I know? How do you go from the #1 school business in the country to basically last and under investigation by the FBI? Well, they did it. Why would you take the #1 school business and just destroy it? It's a state institution. Beating the public, we would beat Wharton every year via the testing. I used to tell Dr. Cooley, you must throw my score out. He said, no, we kept yours. So it's a big deal around here. Now, I know there it is, 3/11. Do I have it? Well, all I'm doing is connecting dots. He's led the charge on the Chinese influence. He's led the charge on this, and the FBI investigation for 6 years points right here, as Kevin Blanch has been screaming for 25 years. I've been going crazy about it. I have so many videos I could even put on YouTube if I wanted to. They just take them right down. But so Governor Cox, who I really do not like, because he's a pro-nuclear. He's got caught bringing nuclear waste into southern Utah at the uranium mill from Europe. He's in bed with Bill Gates to supposedly build these nuclear reactors in Kemmer, Wyoming, which I call total bullshit on. And so he's just got a few days to name. Now, who will he name? I don't know. This will be interesting. Real interesting to see who he names. So, 3/11. So, it's a big deal around here. And I'm telling you, I know a lot about this that I don't even mention on this YouTube site because I can't. You know how they are with you. Me, they treat me like shit. And I'm fighting for my life. Because I've interviewed every one of our politicians right here on this campus, including Mike Lee about Fukushima, including both governors, Cox and Herbert, including Huntsman. I interviewed him right there. So, who do I think he'll name? You ain't going to believe who I think he'll name. I think he'll name John Huntsman. I really do. And, oh God, people will go crazy here if he does. Yeah, but that's who I think he'll name. Will Huntsman take it? Yeah, I think he will. That's just a guess. Don't hold me to. This is just, of course, I'm not allowed to my opinion. Just fighting for cancer. I'm just seventh generation Utah, but my opinion ain't shit. Fighting for my life with leukemia. So I was being prepped to take over that program. Do I think it's coincidence? I think it's tied to this. I don't know, but it's a hell of a coincidence. The Chinese influence. You can look up the FBI man right there. I've been screaming it for 25. Chris Stewart was leading that charge. Chris Stewart was all, and the FBI in here. The FBI conclusion. Right there. Is it a coincidence? Well, I don't think so, but maybe. He was also leading the charge, really ripping the FBI. And the FBI. So do I think there's more to this story? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Big time. So is it a big deal around here? Oh, it's a giant deal around here. And so we'll see. And I hope Chris Stewart's wife is okay. It's been reported she has health issues. It is Utah. We know what happened, so I hope she's fine. And, and all the batting heads with all these politicians here in Utah, because they're bad. I've agreed with him. I've really agreed with him on this, on the Chinese influence here. I've supported his work on it 100%. So him going after the FBI, no, that's a whole different thing with me, So, but you know me. This pisses me off. What they did here to this school, and I know more than anyone. How the FBI has not made arrests. Kevin Blanch is sending over a kid. So this is a big story here. I think there'll be a lot more to come from it. And to be honest with you, I would never believe I'd say this. I hate to see him go because of, I don't agree with him on almost anything. But he was going after this. So I don't know, man. But odd bedfellows, this whole thing, he's going on. And it's like Blake Moore going off on Chinese influence. I'm like, Blake, you grew up 2 freaking blocks right over there. It's in your backyard. So anyway, I think there'll be more to this story. Stay tuned.